I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Dean Harrison,
Yes.
Roger Phone,
Yes.
Mike Parsons.
Yes.
John Edwards.
Yes.
Okay, I should mention, we have online Jennifer Bowman-Stiegel. She's here for our executive session,
Okay,
so she's showed up early.
okay. We're glad to have you. It's okay.
John's here now too.
Okay, good. Excellent. Right, and we're ready for our audit presentation?
Let's,
Or wait a
not
minute.
fast, okay, let's make sure John can hear us.
Okay, we'll wait and make sure everything's copacetic.
Can you hear us, John?
He is, did he nod?
I'm not sure.
Is he muted?
Oh, he's nodding, yes, okay,
Yes.
all right, we're just getting started with the audit presentation, John.
Everybody got enough caffeine to survive this audit presentation? So you're talking about my jokes. I'll tell you one of my jokes.
Okay.
I apply to this right now. You know what the definition of an accountant is? Finds a problem you didn't know you had and explains it in a manner you can't understand. Because we speak our own language. So if you want to go to the first slide after the. So many of you have heard me say this before. Pre-Enron, there are certain things we didn't have to do. For some reason after Enron, there's certain things we do have to do. And one of those is communicate things to the governing board. And these are the requirements that are set forth in changing auditing standards after Enron. First of all, the financial statements you have, even though we draft them for you, in my world, it's called a non-audit function. We have to make sure, and Brenda does have the knowledge and skills to be able to read and understand that statement and make changes if necessary. If you didn't have somebody who knew how to do that, we wouldn't be independent as auditors and we couldn't be your auditor. We have to be independent. You know? Those independent standards, I've been doing this for 41 years now, have changed a lot for you. I used to be able to actually prepare a budget for my clients. Now that would be an impairment of independence. So the next one, if you just hit it, I think 8 times, significant estimates disclosed.
Do I go to
7 times.
7 times, sorry. I need an engineer to help me out the count. You just back it up a little bit. Significant estimates, you really don't have a lot of significant estimates. I will tell you too, something about the statements.
We're still on.
I don't know if you've read the financial statements, but let me tell you, if you ever can't sleep at night, you know, accountants, try reading your audited financial statements, it'll help you a lot. But, you have implemented, congratulations, a new GASB standard. GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. They tell us what has to be and not be in the statements. And the way GASB's been thinking lately, which I don't agree with 100%, you actually now put on the books an asset. If you have a subscription-based, like my company, we use the cloud. We have a 5-year agreement. If we are a government, we have to put an asset on the books for the term of that 5-year agreement and a liability, which makes no sense to me, but that's the new GASB standard. So if you look at your front statements, you have a asset on the books, a right to use asset, and you also have a liability on the books for, I think we call it spit it out. We don't spell it all out. It's
Yeah.
just a subscription-based information technology agreement, I think is what it stands for. So. But it won't affect your budget tax at all. So no significant deficiencies or no significant difficulties encountered during the audit. And no corrected or uncorrected misstatements. As far as I know, no disagreements with management. We do have, and you've seen a letter, I believe, one, what we would call a significant deficiency this year. I know that gets people excited. Whenever they issued a new standard, it was called a reportable condition. Must sound a lot less severe. But a significant deficiency is whatever, in our opinion, the board needs to know about. We didn't find any errors or anything, but you promoted somebody, what's the official title, to deputy manager. And when that promotion happened, they had power to do things all on their own with no oversight. Which, to our, in my mind, again, we didn't find anything, but that's a weakness in your internal control system. Specifically, when that person got on the bank account. I guess you're doing something to rectify that. That letter went to the state when we submit the audit report to the state, because that letter has to go to the state. You'll have an action plan you send to the state. And one of the actions, I understand you're correcting it, but I have other much smaller entities than you, we have significant deficiencies for every year. Sometimes the response to the state is, you know, we have this. And this is not what they say, but I'm a paraphrase. We're not gonna spend $1 to save 50 cents. You know, it's gonna cost more to implement this than us to just live with it. So that is a valid response if you ever have an issue like that. Sounds like you're correcting it, so.
Yeah, so the issue there is that having Carol as an authorized signer of checks, and also having her having access to
Yeah.
manage everything else was a weakness, so we're taking her off the sign checks on easy fix.
It's an easy fix for you.
Very much.
Any questions about that?
No,
All right, next one is,
Sorry.
so that's the problem you didn't know you had, that I hopefully explained in a manner you can understand with Carl's help. As far as we know, you didn't consult with other auditors, and every year you have to sign a management representation letter. Carol, Brenda signs it, and again, when I first started, it was like 2 pages long, now it's like 6 pages long, so just standards and lawsuits against auditors, add stuff to that letter every year, so. If you want me to go to the next slide, Carol, I'd appreciate it. Oregon minimum standards. It used to be that we had 2 things in common with New Jersey. Couldn't pump your gas, and you would have to have a specific license to audit governments. Now we can pump our own gas. I don't know what New Jersey's doing. Deposits of public funds. By state statute, you can put your money in any financial institution you want to, up to the FDIC insurance limits, which is $250,000. Once you exceed that, you have to have your money in a credit union or bank that's on the list that the state treasurer puts out. And if you put more than that in a bank that's institution's not on that list, that's a violation. Debt limitations, there are certain debt limitations, you're not over that, that's calculated. In case you're interested, it's like calculated on the real market value of all the property that's inside the district, but you're well below that limit. But test your budget, make sure you have it properly published, changes were made proper, and we're accountants, so we make sure it all maps correctly. I mean, the state requires us to look at your insurance certificate. The state also has statute that governs investment of public funds. You can't just put your money in the stock market and buy derivatives. That's technically against the law in the state of Oregon. So there's a lot, it's pretty strict. You guys don't have any problem with that. And public contracting, one of the requirements we have to do is look at the list of bids you put out, and we select what we call a sample. Depends on how long the list is, because the sample is at least 10% of the list. And if you said you're gonna score it this way, did you actually score it that way? So we're gonna have no findings related to Oregon minimum standards at all. So. And the next one, this just shows, so at the end of the day, net position on your financial statements, your fund statements, is basically, think of it as equity. And what I do with this slide, so according to this, you have like 110,000, no, 100, that's in thousands, so that's a million. Yeah, but of that, the little green bar is all it's unrestricted and basically spendable. The most of your equity is investment in capital assets or your plan. So people, sometimes I walk governments, people are like, look at all this equity you have, what are you doing with it? Well, you can't spend your plant very easily. It's a hard thing to do. And then the other kind of darker green in between there is restricted. That's for you SDCs, system development charges. When you pass an SDC, you say we're gonna use it for certain things. That's what you tell them people when it's passed. You can't just spend it on anything you want to. It has an outside restriction, what you can spend it on. Any questions?
No.
So I will tell you, you were supposed to meet Cody today. Last week he kept on telling me he had a sore throat, and on the weekend he went in and found out he had strep throat, so he decided not to come down with me. But I gave my notice our partnership agreement requires, I gave a little relief, 3 years notice. I will be retiring on June 1, 2027. I'll be a retired partner. And as I start to phase out, you'll see more of Cody. I might be down for the next meeting, but that might be the last meeting I come to. So, and then I'll only work like 30 hours.
You say you'll work 30 hours.
Well,
That often
I don't
changes.
believe them.
Trust me.
right now, I'm working about, I'm just short of 3,000 hours a year for the last couple of years, so 30 hours a week would be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. Any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I would point out, Enron was like 20 years ago, so there really is.
Is it really 20 years ago? Hasn't been that long. I gotta quit referencing Enron now. I think everybody in this room might know Enron. Maybe not everybody. Was it really that long ago? Okay,
I
I'll
think
put.
it might
Yeah.
That's all right. I was talking to somebody, this is more than you need to know, one of my staff, and they were talking about car trouble. I said, back in the day, we had a standard transmission, we put on a pusher, or put it on a hill, and pop the clutch.
be.
And one of my young staff said, we didn't understand a single word you just said.
I need a little reader.
So I don't know.
I meant to ask you, did you bring down hard copies?
You know, Cody had them,
Okay, that's what I figured.
so I'll mail them to you.
Okay.
So he has them in his apartment, and, you know, with him, I'm not gonna go over and pick them up.
No, just spray them on, no.
So-
You just set that over there.
All right,
Yeah, we
thank
got
you.
it.
Yeah, we
Thanks
will.
for coming. This meeting.
We'll send
Have
them
a
out
safe
to you.
trip home.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
It is on our website.
Is that what you just said to me?
No,
Our last.
so the audit that you just talked about, for fiscal year 23 should be out on our website. And, I'll get you guys hard copies whenever he mails them down if you
Okay.
want. a
Sounds
copy.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You know, the
Right,
last graph on his presentation, I mentioned that to him last year, that it's difficult to read because of the way it's written, the dollar amount.
Right.
And then I decided not to
Even he
embarrass him.
struggled.
I decided not to embarrass him at this meeting, but he slipped on it himself,
Yeah.
trying to read it today.
Had a few zeros.
No.
Okay. So that's it. John? Is he there?
He's here.
Yeah.
I'm
John,
here.
Do you prefer us to have the agenda and everything on the screen, or would you rather look at us?
I can do both.
Oh, okay.
I can see you and I can see the agenda.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
okay, good. All right, next, finance update.
So we're on to the second quarter financials you guys have in front of you. Very little to report on. The interest rate isn't even jumping as quickly as I hoped. But, what I did want to mention is this is a really condensed version of our financials. And so if there's anything you guys want more detail on, you want me to present it differently to you, I'm more than happy to do so. But this just gives a very general condensed summary of where we're at, which we're sitting really, really good. So no worries. Nothing to be concerned about. In most areas of expenses, we're right at the 50% mark. Of course, on the budgeted side for our rehab projects, we're significantly under budget at this point, only because the majority of that we budgeted for was Antelope, which is taking a little longer to get going on that one. So it'll just be a rollover into the next budgeted fiscal year. So. I don't have much to report unless you guys have questions.
Okay, anybody have any questions or anything?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
the next item is, we need to talk about setting our budget committee meeting date while we're on budget. So I had suggested, which we typically do the last Wednesday in April, so it would be after the Wednesday after our board meeting in April, which is April 24th at noon.
Sounds good to me, if that's okay with everybody else. How's that for you, John?
Well, okay, am I on the budget committee or are we all on it or what's the deal with that?
You're a board member, you're a part of the budget committee.
I have RVCOG the fourth Wednesday. It's like Carl and I have that the fourth Wednesday.
Oh,
Oh,
that's right. That's
That's pretty
true.
normal, but
why did we've always done it the fourth Wednesday?
we just skipped that cog meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Do you, I mean, I don't think it affects anybody. I mean, you guys in the budget committee, which we just tell them it is.
Yeah,
But I switch it to a
so Tuesday.
Tuesday is fine with me. I don't think I had anything.
When did you say Tuesday?
What do you?
23rd, I'm coming back from vacation.
Yeah, we
on
can,
Monday. 22nd.
Actually,
Day.
if we did it
Or
the day
Thursday?
before, that'd give you 2 meetings in a row, John. Would that be a
oh
problem?
no, that's fine. I'm also supportive of doing it a little bit later. Someone's dying to see me, and by that I mean I have a capital murder trial going out on the 1st.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
pause.
well, not really, but it is what it is.
To pause a moment, I started a group, a quarterly finance director
Uh-huh.
for Southern Oregon, so all the finance directors of special districts and cities. And I do have that scheduled for that Tuesday the day before.
Make it Thursday.
Okay,
So Thursday,
The 25th.
Thursday's
that
fine
worked
too.
better for you.
Yeah, Thursday's fine.
Okay, Thursday's okay with
The
John?
25th.
Yeah.
Is that, what time will that meeting be?
It'll be a noon lunch.
That's the 25th, is it?
Correct,
Yes, which is a Thursday.
at noon. And lunch will be provided as normal.
Again, and
So Thursday, the 25th, we'll have, our first budget meeting. Usually we only have one.
Is that assuming that Mark Warwick and John Val are available for those dates? That date?
Yeah, Brenda will
Yeah.
send something, or somebody will send something.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
let
check.
them know.
And that's a 1 hour or 2 hour meeting.
Should be less than
Hour.
2, but probably more than 1.
Yeah, that's still a little bit longer than,
Yeah, it's usually an hour.
perfect, that's all I had.
Okey dokey. Okey dokey. Project update.
All right. We have a hearing department update. We did. Our GIS technician that we hired did show up from Louisiana. We're hearing all about Louisiana. She's very chatty, very nice.
Chatty is okay.
Yeah, no, she's there. She's fitting in great. She's awesome. So
Good.
I think she just got back. Her and David, our other GIS tech, went out with the Flusher crew and watch how they operate, what they do, and hopefully they gave her an earful as far as how the GIS system's working for them, the apps, field apps. and everything else. So,
Yeah, that's good to get feedback like that.
oh yeah. She should be going out with the TV crew, I think this afternoon too. So we're gonna send her out with them and our locator and go visit some locations and stuff too. As far as projects go, Brenda mentioned Antelope Road. We did rebid that. It's out to bid right now. We reduced the scope quite a bit in my report. I forgot to give you actual numbers, but the original scope was about 15,000 feet of pipe, which was about half-ish, 60-40, plus or minus. Dig and replace the CIPP line. We got rid of the entire CIPP section and reduced the scope of the dig and replace stuff for a total of about 7,000 feet of a combination of 30-inch and 24-inch pipe. So that should help us quite a bit to get the cost below at least. We open bids next month, and currently there's only 2 plant holders, which happen to be the exact same 2 plant holders that teamed up on the last bid. So we're actively soliciting outside contractors as we speak. So we've got a few in our back pocket that we're going to call directly to tell them this is going on. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we can't make a bid on our projects,
No,
but we can.
no twisting arms on this.
Right. Shady Cove Pump Station number 2. Oh,
Did you get any concessions from the county on work hours?
yes, yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Roger. We actually kind of pinned the county down and made them make some decisions as far as work hours go and closing lanes. The big hang up before was the county wanted us to reopen the entire roadway every night. And so that means the contractor has to plate everything. They have to backfill all the way up, and then they go back out there, mobilize all their equipment, dig back down through the backfill that they just put in, which gets them a 2-hour delay every day.
Yeah.
So,
Which costs, their time and money costs us.
yeah, exactly. So, the county's gonna allow a limited length closure on the center turn lane down Antelope. And so we're gonna put some additional bells and whistles on our traffic control and notification, so attenuators and crash attenuators and things like that. And they're probably just leave that trench open with their box sticking up. And then they'll be able to get going right away every morning. So, yeah, and then both adjacent lanes, east and westbound, will be able to be closed during work hours, which is really good. Then we can swing trucks in and pull in and leave.
So the center turn lane will stay open for the evening.
It'll actually be closed
there, all that.
Yeah, very
I
isolated.
mean, closed.
Yeah, it'll be, I think we put a restriction of 100 feet. So they'll just park all their equipment.
Which makes more sense.
Oh, yeah. And it was kind of a lesson. I mean, we met with the city more than a year prior to opening the first bid. Or sorry, the county, to try to get them to give us some direction on it in there. So we'll wait till see what we get for traffic. Yeah. And so I think we're gonna have to hold our feet to the fire on the next ones, just to make sure that we know exactly what we're dealing with here. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Roger. Shady Cove Pump Station number 2. We sent that off to DEQ, got comments back, we're revising the plans. There's nothing substantial, but there's just some things they want to see. ODOT Highway 99, this one seems like it's been going on forever. We've got all of our relocations done, and we're basically waiting for the county or the ODOT to bid that. I know they're doing some improvements to the old Charlotte Ann Water District lines down there. So
The sewer lines. You told me, no, I'm sorry.
the Pilot Rock's out there right now redoing the Charlotte Ann. Okay, yeah. And so we're done with our sewer stuff. But and our construction crew mobilized out to replace the force main for J344 Ashland Pump Station number 2 force main replacement. And we have one of our crew lead to go visit his parents in Idaho for like emergency family thing. So that's on hold for probably a couple weeks. And then once he gets back, we're gonna be back up and running on that project. Fiscal year 2024 CFP project, that is, I believe we're under contract and we're just waiting for a pre-construction meeting. In situ form. Q013 Cummins Stormwater Facility. That project's out to bid. It's gonna bid on the same timeline as the Antelope Road rebid. We got the same DEQ hoops and hurdles we gotta jump through. So that'll bid next month and award in April, just like we all. Cummins Stormwater Facility, that will be constructed with the 99 improvements as discussed. And the SCADA and UV upgrades at the Shady Cove treatment plant, those are basically kind of in a hold pattern right now. We did approve the equipment pre-selection, I guess proposal is out for bid right now. That's gonna close on February 23rd. Carl's gonna have to jump in whenever you want here, but it's kind of a.
Yeah, so that they're soliciting bids for the actual equipment. And then once they have that, they build the design around that because there are issues in the actual equipment. So we'll get a fixed price on the biggest component of the project.
Yeah,
Next week.
yeah. And the wrinkle there is that it's a bid to guarantee that that's the equipment we're gonna buy, but the contractor's gonna pay for it. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a little weird.
Say it again?
So we put out we approve the product that we're going to buy.
Sure.
And we include that in the contract that we let out later this summer. So when we put out the contract, it says, you're gonna buy this equipment from this manufacturer for this price if you're gonna install it for us.
Okay.
So we don't pay any money to the manufacturer, all our money goes to the contractor.
So there, yeah.
Yeah, so we check all the boxes on the public solicitation requirements, but we don't have a contract.
That's cool.
And that's it.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, thanks, Steve. O&M updates.
Okay, you can see kind of the totals of the work that was done in the past month. I think one of the main issues or big things, we're still waiting on Pacific Power to pull the wires to bring to charge up our charging stations, the new charging stations we put in. Our TV van is still under construction, and the electric trucks that were initially supposed to be here in November, we think might be here in March. So
We think maybe.
we think maybe, yes. The last time we thought maybe it was April, so we thought maybe a month ahead, so. And then the skip loader, that we have that, the check's in that file there, so as soon as we deliver that check, we'll get the skip loader
I
back.
saw that.
And at that point, we might, the backhoe, I think that's when the backhoe at the treatment plant can be surplus, so. We'll talk about that because Shady Cove has expressed interest in buying it from us. I think that's all I have there.
Okey dokey. Next, managers
Managers
report.
report, okay. Funding on the regional intertie project. We're still in process on all that stuff. We have increased our loan requests from Business Oregon to cover the full cost of the design contract. We have signed a design contract and we have a kickoff meeting scheduled, I believe, for next Tuesday to get started on that. The DEQ loan, that application's been submitted. And then the USDA loan, you don't submit that application until the end after you've done all your environmental stuff. But all those, both of those two, our consultants handling those. So we'll get the report on status on that one. Anything else? The funding on the Cummins Stormwater project, that's all secured. We've got the signed agreements that we're going to get a grant of $383,000. And then the remainder of the project cost is about $83,000. Will be a loan that will be 100% forgiven. So that one's good.
Who's the best?
Yeah. So that one's good, and then hopefully we'll get a bid for the award of contract. Antelope Road, the agreement that we signed originally is still in place and does apply to the smaller scale project. So that's in process. Gold Hill. So what is new with Gold Hill? So I did send a request to DEQ about extending the deadlines on the MAO. There was a requirement for them to complete their preliminary engineering design by September 2021 or 22, I can't remember. It's a while ago. So I've requested to extend that to the end of this year because that's what our contract with Tetra Tech says they'll have it completed by. I haven't gotten a response yet on that. The loan request that they have with Business Oregon Infrastructure Finance Authority, that's still pending. I just learned today that they did not make their last payment in December, like they were supposed to. And Business Oregon, I guess, is okay with that for now. They're giving them some forbearance on that. But so that's. I'll jump ahead a little bit here with the transfer of assets. One of the reasons they haven't paid that is they still don't know how much money they have.
Oh, wow.
And I talked to the city manager this morning. They're working with their auditors trying to figure it out. They're having a lot of difficulties with their financial software vendor. Just trying to get reports out. And what she tells me is it looks like there's $200,000 missing somewhere in that range. They don't know how or where, and she says she can't even figure out how much money they have in the bank, which
That,
seems very strange, but they've got their auditors working on it, and they're working with their software vendors just trying to sort that out. But I know I'm not terribly surprised.
no,
And, but, and I know that, what the new city manager is doing right now is probably more than anybody's done there in 20 years to try to sort it out. So I'm pretty confident she's going to get to the bottom of it, but I don't know what they're going to find at the bottom.
Yeah. If any.
the bottomless pit.
So that's, they were supposed to transfer a bunch of that money to us, but they can't because they don't even know what's in there. So we're still waiting on that. The assumption of their rural development loan, that's the bigger one. That's like $500,000 or $600,000. And we're working towards that. That's the one that we flip back and forth every month. They say, you got to pay it off. Oh, then you can assume it. Now you got to. So right now we're on we can go ahead and assume it. But I'm pretty sure the meeting Brenda and I had this afternoon is going to flip back and we're going to.
It's time.
Yeah. So, and again, if that happens, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. What we would end up doing is we would make an interfund loan, probably from Fund 7, because that's our capital reserve. And then Gold Hill would have to pay that back with interest. It does hurt Gold Hill a little bit because we would have to charge at least what we charge for what we're getting from the LGIP, which is more than what they're paying right now on the loan. So it has a little bit of an impact there. Not huge. I think about $3,000 or $4,000 a year. So it's not crushing, but it's not nothing either. It's the sewer billing. I remember the first month we only got a little over 50% of people paid their bills. We're back up in the 80-some percent, 85% for January. So it's where we would expect it to be. So that's moving pretty well. And on the actual construction, like I said, we've entered into the contract with Tetra Tech. And our kickoff meeting is next week. And we're under contract to have a preliminary design completed by the end of the year and the final design by the end of the following year. That's all moving forward. I did want to mention, I did put that in my report. We're in the midst of building the budget right now. The cost of living adjustments that we typically base on the January CPI was 3.1%, which is kind of back to normalcy. So that's what we're going to be using when we calculate personnel costs. And our health insurance costs, they said at the conference last week that it would be an average of 7%, but we don't know, some higher, some lower. So we usually project a little bit higher than what they say is the average, just to be safe. I think we're going to look at 10%. And if we get lucky, they're good for us. And I mentioned Jennifer Bowman-Spiegel is here. She's a labor attorney. Session through everything else.
And we want to do the claims before the executive session, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims. We'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Kay Harrison,
Yes.
Roger Toll,
Yes.
Mike Parsons,
Yes.
John Edwards.
Yes.
John Quinn.
Yes.
Okey dokey. Yeah, I've got this neat little thing to read. Okay, are we ready for?
Yes.
Okay, the RVSS Board of Directors will now meet in executive session to consider information or records that are exempt from disclosure by law, including written advice from our attorney. And it's ORS 192.6602, and to consult with our attorney regarding legal rights and duties in regard to current litigation or litigation that is more likely than not to be filed, and that's ORS 192.660.2H. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to please leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session, and at the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back. So.